How's post Wale everyday struggle life been?
I wish I would have conducted that interview, honestly.
Oh, you was getting interrupted. It was great to see you just shut the fuck up for a second.
I mean, I went up there with the plan to shut the fuck up, but Ack is long-winded and talks in circles. He does. If you don't put a leash on it, he's just going to say the same thing a million different ways, and Wale already had an axe to grind with him.
Interesting
But that was for
to
them.
see people, not even just with Wale and Act, just to see people watch the same thing and perceive things so much different.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I understood what Wale was saying, and I was reading other people that were like, got the complete opposite of what he was trying to say.
But people always do that.
But this was like weird. I don't know. Maybe just because when I saw Wale, of course Wale was being Wale, so it's hard to sometimes grasp what he's trying to say. That's kind of been his Achilles heel in his entire career. But I think he was just saying, not Act in particular, but who he represents and that those type of people, you don't have a leg to stand on to call me corny. Call me what you want to call me. Corny's the last thing you can call me because I live the life that you watch on a screen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what was upsetting to him. Like, of all people, you could say my music sucks. Mm-hmm. You could say anything you want about me, but the last thing you, of all people, and everyone that's in your little comments can call me is corny.
I don't understand how people feel like Wale is corny. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't understand how people think Wale is corny.
They think that because he has reacted to too much.
Is that what makes you corny?
No.
You can have corny reactions, but I don't think his reactions have been corny per se. I think they've been misguided.
Anytime your reactions are perceived to be emotion-based, i.e. Meek when he was wilding and niggas was clowning him, not because he was wrong in his sentiment, but because it seemed emotion-based. Wale has replied to a lot, especially during that "we don't fuck with you musically" period. He replied emotionally to a lot of things, much like myself. I didn't reply so emotionally so much, but it comes off that way. And once it comes off that way, that's all that matters. Now your music and y'all are perceived a certain way.
Yeah, but corny? I don't understand how that could be taken as corny.
That's what I think the whole argument was about. Everyone was like, why is Wale upset about, like, nah, you can't come at me with a fucking egg avy from your mom's basement and call me corny.
But yes, you can. That's hip hop today.
Yeah, you can, but it's like,
of course you can.
He's correct if we're old and we're playing by a different code of ethics.
No, of course you can do it.
That's why I love Meek. That's why
the internet has given these people a voice.
That's why I think Meek is so necessary.
Cool,
because Meek is one of the only new niggas that I feel is still playing by old codes. And it comes off that way. We need that. We need somebody playing by old rules and old codes.
I just don't get how I'm sitting there trying to think of something corny I've seen Wale do. Like, I'm really trying to think about it.
Yeah, but Mo, you grew up outside around a certain type of crowd. You didn't grow up in your mom's basement hooked up to the internet. So what you perceive is right and wrong, they don't.
Yeah, the things that you perceive to be corny, you're going to be the coolest nigga in the room in any room you walk in. The things that you think are corny and the things that corny people think are corny. Like Academics said himself, hey, I'm corny. I'm corny. But a lot of us are saying you're corny too. I understand Wale when he says, and I understand people when Academics, this is a lot of people's first time seeing him. So when you see someone who has such a strong command on the youth and how to sway their opinion, and this is the person, you feel away. I totally understood Wale.
I get why Wale feels some way. I'm just still trying to find out why people feel like. I think it's just the cool thing to say Wale is corny. I think that people just made it cool to say Wale is corny.
It was cool to say that at a certain point. But look at it like this. If you don't know any better,
right,
and you compare Wale and Meek, if you value the things that Meek exhibits, wouldn't you think Wale is corny?
No.
If you didn't know any better, yes, you would.
Oh, if you didn't know any better.
I started with if you don't know any better.
Yeah.
If you're not from the streets, if you never left the crib, lived your mom, I'm just saying your perception of things is coming from YouTube or the internet, and I'm not saying that about Academics. I'm just saying period.
Yeah.
Then when you see Meek, he looks really cool. The motorbikes look cool. The jewelry looks cool. He's always with people that look cool. He had the girl. It looked cool. He beefed with Drake, the biggest rapper. He lost, but it looked cool.
No, but
Wale doesn't have that same luxury. He doesn't get that aesthetic that the rest of MMG is afforded. The rest of MMG, they talk that fly shit. It looks like that fly shit. They rap that fly shit. Wale, not so much. And I feel like when the radio single kind of died, Wale died with it. Wale thrived when radio was prevalent and when radio dictated hits and all of that shit. Since then, when the internet and streaming and all that shit has been dominant, now you have to deal with the effects that you have made over here. And it's been quite a bit. It's a lot to deal with.
Wale had Seinfeld on his album.
Yeah, that's nuts. No. Let's put it in perspective. That's amazing. And Seinfeld's amazing, and you can't beat that. However, perspective when it's done in damage control, because that's what happened. He had a big blow up. He cursed out a big publication. You heard me on All Love Lost saying you need Pitchfork, you need Complex, you need Noisy, you need these people. If you don't have these people in pocket, like I said that. He pissed them off. Now you need to do something. Now you need to come back with a bang because you left a lasting effect on your last mistake.
But I'll say even with the second tier of the Drake versus Meek thing and why the internet killed Meek, because I think the internet looks at Drake as more relatable to them and what living in their house and not really going outside much. Drake is much more relatable in what he raps about and what he looks like. So it was easy to kill the street dude because they didn't understand him.